just a quick tip for those of you that work in watercolor or gouache. Rather than looking for and buying the metal tins that they sell empty with the half pans or full pans that you fill yourself when you're using watercolor or gouache that comes in tubes, those tins can range anywhere from $15 to $50 depending on where you get them. I found these on Amazon recently, that they are what folks use who are doing those diamond dot paintings. And they're intended to hold their little, the little plastic diamonds that they put down on their canvas. It is a case that holds inside of it 28 of these little containers attached in rows of 4. Now they do have lids on them, and they're fairly easy to open, but you could conceivably make a mess if you still had a lot of wet paint in it and you went to pop it open and it didn't work. There's also the fact that if you put all of your paints inside of one of these and you have the lids on them, you have to go through that tedium of opening all of the lids up every time. But because these come in an overcase, what I do is I simply cut the lids off. Then you have all of these little pans basically to put your watercolor in that are inside of a nice sealable case. Now obviously it's not completely watertight or airtight, but it will do a good job of keeping the paints moist for longer than it would if they were just sitting out. Now obviously if you're a person who does not mind when the paints dry out like I do, watercolor and gouache, you can re-wet it and use it again. That's not a big problem for me. But if you prefer to have your paints moist, you could leave the lids on and go through the hassle of opening the lids each time you wanted to get into a color. Or, as you can see, there is some space between the lid and the top of the container whenever you cut those lids off. So you could take these all out, put a very thin piece of sponge or a paper towel under there and wet it. And then when you close your lid, it'll keep the moisture level up higher as your paints are sitting in there in storage. And this is just showing you what it looks like. This is the Emoki tube watercolor that I was getting it ready to do a review of. And so I started putting the colors out into one of these containers. As you can see, it's just such a nice way to get your paints out there, all easily accessible. I write my names on the side, even though these come with a little tag that you could put on them. The tag's actually intended for the lid. You could put it on the side, but the tags are so small, you'd need like a micro pen and a magnifying glass to actually write on the tags, unless you're putting just a color number on it. One of the things I do like about doing this way is, you can leave the level of the paint low enough so that you can actually put a good bit of water in there to start getting it re-wetted. Now this paint obviously is still quite moist because I've just put it in here. But I've been using these for my watercolor paints and gouache paints for a few weeks now, and I'm very pleased with them. And the price is what is absolutely right on this. I got 6 of these on Amazon for, I believe it was $12.99, so $13 for 6 of these, each one of them holding 28 colors. So hopefully this helps anybody out who's looking for a less expensive solution to storing their watercolors. And one more thing to keep in mind is if you have them this way, you can always rearrange one of these to have only the colors in it that you want to work with on a particular day. So extremely versatile.